I took it off. Please, she begged. The silent rancher finally did the unthinkable asterisk. The sun bled over the rim of red mesa, turning the desert into a sea of gold and dust. Elias Grant stood on the ridge with his Winchester resting on his shoulder, the dry wind tugging at the brim of his hat. He had been tracking the men since dawn, 3 riders, dust plumes rising behind them like ghosts. They had raided a freight wagon on the old trail. By the time Elias found the wreck, the driver was dead, his partner gutted, and a woman was missing. He didn't believe in luck anymore, only consequence. So when he found them in the ravine below, 3 bandits laughing, one of them tearing the bodice of a woman's dress, he didn't hesitate. The first shot dropped the man instantly. The second hit the one standing over her. The third echoed long after the bodies stopped moving. When the silence settled, the woman slumped sideways, her red hair spilling into the sand. Elias holstered his gun, slid down the ridge, and knelt beside her. Her skin was cold, her breathing faint. Then she whispered his name. I found you. Elias. He froze. No one had spoken that name in 12 years. She collapsed into his arms. He carried her to his horse and rode back toward Red Mesa, to the ranch that didn't exist on any map. The cabin stood alone among the yucca and sagebrush, the kind of place only ghosts would visit. Elias laid the woman on his bed, lit a lamp, and cut open her sleeve. The bullet had gone clean through the shoulder. He sterilized his knife in the flame, working quietly, methodically. Her eyes flickered open once during the procedure, smoky, grey, full of defiance, even in pain. Why help me? She rasped. Because I don't like burying strangers, he said. When he was done, he wrapped her shoulder tight, then sat back, studying her. There was a small tattoo on her wrist, an eagle with a star. Pinkerton. He frowned. Searching her satchel, he found a Derringer pistol, a half-empty flask, and a photograph of himself, taken years ago in uniform. For the first time in a long while, something colder than the desert wind crept down his spine. By nightfall, she woke again. Where am I? My ranch, he answered. You're safe for now. She winced, trying to sit up. He poured her a glass of water. Drink slow. When she finished, she looked straight at him. You're Elias Grant. He didn't deny. Not anymore, he said. The man you're looking for died a long time ago. Her lips curved faintly. Then I suppose the first found his ghost. He ignored the spark that ran through him. Who sent you? She hesitated, then said, someone. Who needs you to remember who you were? Before he could press further, the low rumble of horses reached them. Elias crossed to the window. 3 riders approached under the starlight, torches swaying. He swore under his breath. Stay quiet, he told her, grabbing his rifle. The man who rode in front was well-dressed, too fine for the desert. A beard trimmed neat, eyes cold as polished steel. Evening, the stranger called. I'm looking for a woman. Red hair. Escaped this morning. Dangerous. Elias kept his stance. Easy. Haven't seen anyone. The stranger's smile didn't reach his eyes. Name's Silas Crow. Maybe you remember me. The name hit Elias like a gunshot. I don't recall, he lied. Strange, Crow said softly. I recall a Captain Elias Grant, Union Cavalry. You served under me once. before the war turned men into ghosts. Elias's jaw tightened. You've got the wrong man. Crow's gaze slid past him toward the cabin. You're sure? Red Mesa's a lonely place for a man to live alone. Get off my land. The two men stared each other down. The desert went silent, even the wind holding its breath. Then Crow tipped his hat, smile widening. If you see her, tell her Silas sends his regards. Elias watched until they disappeared into the darkness. When he stepped back inside, the woman was sitting upright, clutching her pistol. He knows you, she said quietly. And you know him, Elias replied. She nodded once. Too well. They ate in silence, beans, black coffee, the kind of meal you don't taste. Finally, she spoke. My name's Clara Devane. I was with the Pinkertons until last month. Crow's been selling weapons along the border to anyone who can pay. North, south, it doesn't matter. He's planning something worse, and he's afraid of you. Elias stared into the fire. He should be. He thinks you're dead. That's why I came. You're the only one who can stop him. He let out a short, humorless laugh. Lady, I'm not a hero. I'm a man who's good at digging graves. Clara's gaze didn't waver. Maybe, but someone once told me the difference between a killer and a savior is what he does when he can't sleep at night. Her words landed like a stone in his chest. He stood and poured himself a drink, trying to drown the past, the screams, the burning village, the faces that never left him. You don't know what I did, he said finally. I know enough, she answered softly. And I know Crow made you believe it was your fault. Elias turned away. You should rest. At first light, you leave. The desert's safer without me. She didn't argue, only whispered, that's where you're wrong. The rain came late, a rare storm rolling over Red Mesa, hammering the tin roof. Elias couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, watching lightning crawl across the sky. Behind him, Clara stirred, mumbling in her sleep, trapped in a nightmare. Then she gasped awake, clutching her shoulder, sweat glistening on her skin. Easy, he said, moving closer. Her voice shook. The strap is too tight. He reached for the leather band across her shoulder. She caught his hand. I took it off, please. The plea cut through him. For a moment, the storm outside vanished. He undid the strap slowly, his fingers brushing the curve of her collarbone. She trembled but didn't pull away. When it was done, she looked at him, eyes glimmering in the lamplight. Thank you. He swallowed hard. Get some rest. But neither of them slept. Outside, thunder rolled. Inside, two people who should have been enemies sat awake, haunted by the same ghosts. Before dawn, Elias opened a trunk under the floorboards. Inside lay his old cavalry coat, his officer's pistol, and a folded flag stained with blood. Beneath them, a silver pendant, a sunburst pattern, handcrafted by Cherokee hands. He turned it over in his palm, remembering smoke rising from the village, the orders he'd given, the mistake that had damned him. When he looked up, Clara was standing in the doorway, watching. That necklace, she said, her voice breaking. Where did you get it? He told her everything. Her hands trembled as she reached for the pendant. My mother's family was there, she whispered. You were the one who led that raid. I was, he said. and I've been paying for it ever since." She didn't speak for a long time. Then she took the pendant, tears tracing lines down her dusty cheeks. "My aunt wore this," she murmured. "I kept it so I'd never forget," Ilya said quietly. For the first time, her eyes softened. "Maybe remembering isn't enough." He nodded. "No, but it's a start." Outside, a faint drumming of hooves broke the fragile peace. Elias's head snapped up. "They're coming," he said. "Crow. Who else?" He grabbed his rifle, checking the chamber. "There's a tunnel under the root cellar. If they breach the door, you run." "What about you?" "I'll hold them off." Her voice steadied. "Not without me, you won't." For the first time in years, Elias felt something fierce stir inside him. Not rage, not guilt, but purpose. He met her gaze and nodded once. As the first shots shattered the dawn, the man who had once been dead rose to meet his ghosts.